the land of the rising sun, Japan, home to round number 6 of Thursday Night Thunder from Suzuka Circuit, where defending champion Aiden Norman has control of the field. Coming out of the last corner, getting ready to go racing, waiting for that green flag so we can kick off the party in Japan. Defending champion and Seth Wansing on the front row.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. We're racing at Suzuka. One full lap at Suzuka. This opening lap, 2 minutes, 13 seconds and change. Seth Wansing, the Iowa winner, now ahead of Tom Sears, last week's winner at the Bristol Motor Speedway, safely make it through the first couple corners. Jason Alexander being scored in 11th. There's Jeff Noe, who is in 10th. He might have fallen off the chicane. Let's have a look at that first lap and see just who survived. Jeff Noe went off on lap 1 in the hairpin. How about Richie Catania? That's Richie through Spoon. Tommy Withers had an incident. There he is, falling off the track. That's 130R, I believe, headed right into chicane. How about Thomas Andrews? Same problem for the New Jersey pilot. Cody Riggs on the second lap fell into some action. This is through the S's. Just ahead of Dustin Painter. How about Richie Catania falling off track again? Through Dunlop curve, almost right into Thomas Andrews. And that's all the action so far in just 2 laps here at the Suzuka circuit. Jeff Noe in 10th. Aiden Norman leading by an almost believable 5 1/3 seconds. Seth Wansing in that second position. Tom Sears 5 seconds off of second. How about the battle, though, for the 4th position? Tommy Withers in that 6th. Shinjuku's very own Ryan Pennell in the 5th position. Thomas Andrews in the 6th spot, separated by less than 1 second. Let's ride on board with Withers. Jason Alexander and Cody Riggs side by side. Through that first corner, is Riggs going to make it? Alexander sticks close to his inside. The 5-6 has the inside line. Now they go into S's. Riggs still maintaining tough. Now into Dunlop curve. Riggs has the advantage. Painter tries to get a piece of it now. Riggs, Alexander, Painter through the corners now, right before the Degner curves. Into Degner's 1 and 2. Riggs goes right off the racetrack. Painter now on the outside of Alexander. Riggs survives the Degners. Painter on the outside. Alexander to his inside. Riggs leads into the hairpin. He's in 8th. Awesome stuff from Cody Riggs, Jason Alexander, and Dustin Painter through the hairpin now. Look at Cody Riggs. He's gone off the racetrack in the hairpin. One of the Bluegrass Bandits in this race tonight. Up against it. Cody Riggs already in a bit of trouble. Let's have another look. Watch for that 3 coming into the hairpin. There's Riggs. Oh, he just catches the grass, it looks like. Loses control. The Dirt Cheap Customs number 3 regains that momentum. He's back out on the racetrack. Cody Riggs sitting in that 10th position. Let's go back to the battle involving Tommy Withers and Ryan Pennell. We're looking at the fight for 4th. There's Withers. Pennell following. How about Thomas Andrews right behind him? And there is Shinjuku Tokyo's very own Ryan Pennell slamming the nose down on that number 12 Dodge Charger through first curve, and now the S's. He's going to follow Tommy Withers with Season 4 champion Thomas Andrews behind him. Let's go on board the 1-2. Richie Catania fell off the track. The Central Floridian in the 2-4. Tongue got away from me there. Richie falls off the racetrack there. Back to Ryan Pennell. He's caught with of Thomas Andrews once again. The Penske truck rental Charger sort of losing control but trying to get back on it. Through Spoon Curve, Ryan plays it wide. He can't get into the sand. He does avoid the sand. Ryan Pennell now behind the 2 of Thomas Andrews down the long straight into 130R. Withers, Andrews, Pennell. And the V8 roars by, headed into chicane. Tommy Withers down the inside. Ryan Pennell right up on Thomas Andrews, jumping the curbs. You're looking at 4th, 5th, and 6th, respectively. Dustin Painter, our first DNF of the race. 26 laps remain. Race leader Aiden Norman comes into this race with that TNT points lead. He's leading 2:26 to Jeff Nose, 2:16. 2:15 is where Thomas at fourth position, 207 markers. There are only 5 rounds completed as Tommy Withers goes loose right at the top of the S's, headed into Dunlop Curve. Andrews seems to be going with him. Withers on the outside has opened the door for Japan's Ryan Pennell, and he's got smell again of his competitors heading into the Degners. 4th, 5th, and 6th is Thomas Andrews, Thomas Withers. Ryan Pennell goes off the racetrack into Degner 1. Coming out of Degner 2, Ryan's going to fall all the way out of the 6th position, and he's still not back on the racetrack. Andrews leading Withers out of the hairpin, taking the run from hairpin through Spoon. Withers behind Andrews now. Season 4 champion Thomas Andrews trying to hold his own. Coming into this race, Andrews finds himself 6th in the point standings. Withers, on the other hand, in that 7th position. 4 points is what separates them, and they are nose to tail as the race continues on. Cody Riggs falling off the racetrack again. Let's see what's gone on with the Kentucky driver this time. And this is Riggs going off at the top of the S's, same as Thomas Andrews, and it looks like he might have fallen off the racetrack again. Have another look. This is into hairpin, not the first time Cody Riggs has caught the racetrack and fallen off. The Kentucky driver must do better. He's in the 9th position, as it were. Headed into 130R. Let's see if Riggs will survive this one. Don't catch the grass, Cody. Right up to the edge through 130R. And the Dirt Cheap Customs number 3 survives this time. Going into chicane. And he makes it through. Cody having plenty of trouble with the chicane. And it looks like he's going to be just fine. Aiden Norman leading the way by 15 seconds. Hanging the tail out into smooth curve. Let's take a look at just what that gap has been over the last 5 laps. There's Seth Wansing in the 3rd position. Norman quicker by approximately 2¼ to 3 seconds every single lap. 24 laps to go this time by. Tom Sears in that 3rd position. There's 3rd, 4th, and 5th for the Massachusetts pilot. The Season 1 and Season 3 TNT champion got his very first win of the season last year. And Tom with a little bit of kanji, or Japanese, on the right side of his car and the left side of his car. Gotta ask him what that means. I think he's in one of 2 Toyotas in this race, the other being Tommy Withers in that Camry. Ryan Pennell with some damage to the front end of his car, with a lot of damage to his race car. Let's see what happened to Ryan. Loose and contact with the 6 of Tommy Withers. And let's have one more look, but it seems like Tommy Withers also had a problem. This is out of the Degner curves. Withers off the racetrack. Pennell trying to avoid him. Pennell gets in the grass. And nothing he could absolutely do there. Let's go on board with Tommy Withers this time. Let's check this out from Ryan Pinnell's point of view. And just like his nameplate says in the top right corner, he sent it, and he sent it a little too hard. So the Tokyo pilot, the hometown driver of the week, goes off the racetrack right through Dunlop Curve, and he loses the spot to Jason Alexander. South Carolina's Jason Alexander in that 5-6 Dodge now moves up into the 6th position. Coming into this, oh, sounds like Pinnell's gone off again, and he absolutely has. Back to Jason Alexander, who's in that 5-6 coming into this race. Alexander looking to make up a little bit in the points. You have a look, Alexander finds himself 20th in the standings. I believe he's about 17 points behind Toby Estes. So Alexander can make up a lot of points in this race just by finishing. He's 8 seconds behind Tommy Withers in that 5th position. Back to Ryan Pinnell, the hometown driver. He's lost plenty of spots where he was battling in that top 5. Still up 1 place from where he started, however. 22 to go this time by. Hardest charger of the race most definitely goes to last week's winner, Tom Sears, up 4 places from where he started. And you've got to give that up to just how well he's been driving. He hasn't fallen off the track, not a single time. It's that kind of consistency that's going to keep him in the running for another podium. And considering that Aiden Norman finds himself at the top, oh, a blink there, at the top of the table by 7 points over Jeff No. Seth Wansing also in that 8th position in the standings, looking to make up a little bit of ground. He goes around out of Degner 2. Tom Sears follows him through the sand. Both drivers with big unnecessary mistakes, and that closes up the fight for second immediately. Wansing now on Sears going into hairpin, and it's going to be now about who maintains control, and that driver is not Seth Wansing. He's lost the car into hairpin, and chrome wheels will do you no good, my son, if you can't keep them spinning. Seth Wansing, well, he might pass Tom Sears here. Tom Sears trying to wiggle the back end of that Toyota just a little too hard. Now into Spoon, really throwing the car through the corners. Let's go on board with Sears. Keep an eye on the hands. Norman leading the race by 25 seconds. Tom Sears in that 2nd position, 7.5 seconds ahead of Seth Wansing. 21 laps remain in this race. Andrews in that 4th position, trying to climb his way through everybody. Seems to have found some personal space, except for Ryan Pennell and Richie Catania separated by just one lousy second on the racetrack. Out of that final corner, Pennell up 2 places from where he started. Cody Riggs went off the racetrack recently. Let's see what happened to the Kentucky pilot. Just like the 2 times before, Cody Riggs collects the grass outside the hairpin, and he spins the race car. Have another listen. Thomas Andrews also went around in the hairpin as well. Too much power. Too much power coming out of the hairpin. And Andrews has an incident. How about Jason Alexander, who just recently went off track? These drivers 8 laps in, starting to lose the grip on the tires. And now it could be just a question. Is this the hairpin once again? Does Alexander give it too much power? No, it looks like he just fell off the track for a moment. But back to Pennell here. He's sitting just 1 second ahead of Catania. Further up ahead, Tommy Withers and Jason Alexander might trade spots here soon. Let's have a look at the difference between the two of them. Alexander, who's just in striking distance of the top 5, just misses Tommy Withers. There's the gap over the last 5 laps. Jason Alexander, the last 2 times, at least 4 seconds quicker than Tommy Withers. That last time around, the clock reads, well, it says 4.1 seconds there. Tommy Withers now running away with that 5th position, and there's the gap between Withers to Andrews. Thomas Andrews running away with the position, but between Withers and Alexander, they're going to continue to battle. Catania doesn't stay off the back end of Ryan Pennell. Next time by, 20 laps to go at Suzuka. Pennell running away with this one through the top of the S's into the Dunlop curve. Let's go on board with Richie Catania through the Degna corners. Ryan Pennell seemingly leaving Richie Catania in the dust through Spoon Curve. Up to Tommy Withers and Jason Alexander, now about to do battle into chicane. Alexander in the 5.6 Dodge behind Withers in that U.S. Army Camry out of the final corner, completing lap number 9. And just how long will it take for these drivers to come in? Give it 10 to 15 laps before we see the pit window open. Withers being followed by Alexander into the first turn. Separated by just 0.6 of a second. Withers with the advantage into S's. Thomas Andrews in that too. You can start to see the car shake and weave. The season 4 champion. Looking at the point, he goes off the track in the Degners. Just as we look at the points, the season 4 champion is only 11 points behind Shinjuku's Ryan Pennell, who's running in 7th. This could be another step forward in the championship. For Thomas Andrews, he wiggles the car coming into hairpin, struggles to put the power down. He went around once before. Tom Sears has gone off the racetrack. He's crashed. He's crashed in the straight leading up to 130R. He slams the race car against the guardrail going down the straight between Spoon and 130R under the Dunlop sign. And that 14 car in dire shape. He's got to pit, surely. Thomas Andrews some 30 seconds behind. Tom Sears, we'll see what the 14 does now. And he's slow. He's on his way into the pits. Two-time TNT champion Thomas Andrews in the pits. Seth Wansing's now gone off the track in the first curve. He's put it back onto the racetrack. Tom Sears in the pits on lap number 11. He's got to get the car repaired, and from here on out, he's got to make no mistakes. Put Jason Alexander into the 4th position. The 5'6", the native of Salem, South Carolina. Well in the top 5 over Tommy Withers by 5 seconds. There is the Virginian just holding out on the top 5, but now Tom Sears is behind him with fresh tires and a repaired race car. We'll see just what happens between them. There's Alexander in the 4th spot. Tommy Withers in the 5th spot. And then 5 seconds and counting. Have a look at Tom Sears just making incredible time. Watch the numbers on the bottom right. Alexander may have lost control of the race car into hairpin. He has lost control. Tommy Withers behind him. Tom Sears now moving at good pace. Jason Alexander has lost that gap, and Tommy Withers is closing in. Out of 130R, headed into the chicane, it's Sears versus Withers. This is the battle for the top 5. This is what it looks like from Tommy Withers' quarter panel. They brake hard, headed into the first corner. Sears to the inside. He's got to not fall off the racetrack. Tommy Withers all over the place through the first curve. Headed into the S's. Tom Sears with the advantage. He has got the position. Sears now in the top 5. Tommy Withers sitting in 6th. Ryan Pennell some 28 seconds behind. And in all of this, Jason Alexander running away with that 4th position. the South Carolinian. My apologies to him. The South Carolinian. Man, I got to get that right. Going through the Degners. Maybe the tires are wearing out for me, too. We've got to see when the rest of these drivers will come in. Aiden Norman, 52 seconds. A half lap ahead of Seth Wansing, now down the straight and into 130R. The Kansas City Chiefs fan and pride of Kansas City has got to be careful and make his race mistake-free for its remainder. Tom Sears has caught right up to Jason Alexander, and Sears has no other choice but to go as hard as he can. He's got the fresh tires now. And this will be all too easy for Tom Sears. On the pit lap, Jason Alexander gaining 26.9 seconds on Tom Sears. Going through the chicane, he'll pass the timer, and we'll see just how much time Tom Sears gained with fresh tires over Jason Alexander. .6 seconds was the difference for Tom Sears. 16 to go. This time by, and it sounds like one driver's just gone off the racetrack. Jason Alexander, maybe just the tires grinding against the surface. And it is, you can hear those tires just grinding. Jason Alexander trying his hardest to stay on the racetrack, but the South Carolinian now needs to regain control. Have a look at the hands for Alexander. So ginger, so soft with that wheel. Tom Sears, 3 seconds ahead. Jason Alexander, all credit to Alexander. He's still in the top 5. He has not fallen off the track more than once or twice. It's that kind of consistency that's going to put him in contention for a top 5, maybe even a podium. Ryan Pinnell has decided to come in. The Japanese driver brings his race car down on lap number 13. He'll have the fresh tires now. He's hit the halfway mark, or he will soon. It is a 30-lap race. Ryan Pinnell hits the halfway mark. Here comes Seth Wansing behind him in that second position. Interesting to see what the difference will be in these lap times. Wansing looks like he's gaining on Pinnell, who still has cold tires coming out of the S's. Seth Wansing last time around, 2:18.59. Tom Sears, 2:14.43. Sears is going to have to do careful driving here because he can drive as hard as he wants, but again, he'll have to pit a second time if that's his strategy. Almost as if he was running on a softer compound. Aiden Norman, however, last time around, 2:16.66. Tom Sears, 2:16.50. Sears currently quicker than the race leader, Aiden Norman. Thomas Andrews with some damage to the left front corner. He must have slammed that car against the wall at some point. There he is on the Degners, just hopping over that. Let's see what happened with Cody Riggs. He fell off the racetrack. That's what happened to Cody Riggs. Tommy Withers also had an incident. Oh, this is going through chicane. Withers undoubtedly having to slow that back down and give some of the time back. Tom Sears in that 4th position. Now within 9 seconds to Thomas Andrews, who has yet to pit. All of the top 3 have yet to pit. Andrews in 3rd, Wansing in 2nd, some 57 seconds behind Aiden Norman, who's put on a masterclass today. But he's got to bring it home. We're halfway now, 15 laps to go in this race. Ryan Pinnell falling off the racetrack that last time around. Let's see what happened with the 12. This looks like he's going through Spoon, possibly. It is. That's Spoon leading into the straight for 130R. Pinnell just falls off the racetrack, and it cost him. Cody Riggs also went off. Catches the grass, does he? Nope, just sends it a little too deep into 130R. And back onto the racing surface. Makes it through chicane cleanly. Good to see Cody finally getting a hold of that corner. Tommy Withers holding on to 5th, trying to hold on to that race car. He has not pitted. Jason Alexander did come down pit road. Ryan Pinnell has crashed again, this time on fresh tires, and it's going to cost the Shinjuku driver too much time. He can't afford to lose this sort of time. He goes off the Degners. And there goes the Japanese pilot. Luckily, he doesn't hit anything this time. But again, just another mistake for the Japanese pilot. The leader is in. Aiden Norman is in the pits. Seth Wansing now coming up to 130R. We'll see just when Norman will leave these pits. And there is Aiden Norman on his way out, still with the race lead. 14 laps to go for the defending champion, the North Carolinian. Through that first corner with fresh tires on. Seth Wansing out of chicane. Does he come down pit road, or does he try and stretch it as far as possible? Wansing is in. All eyes now on Thomas Andrews. His fellow Thursday Night Thunder champion Tom Sears behind him, headed towards 130R. Sears cuts the engine off into 130R, now headed towards chicane. Sears now going around Wansing, who pitted 5 laps after him. Wansing on cold tires needs the grip, but for now, Tom Sears making the overtake for the 2nd position. Seth Wansing behind him, now giving chase with the fresher tires through the S's. Into Degners 1 and 2. Cody Riggs watching these two about to fight. Will they beat and bang through the corners? Wansing within 1 second to Tom Sears. How far will Sears be able to stretch this one? Wansing not able to catch up to the Massachusetts pilot just yet. Through the hairpin and entering Spoon. Wansing within 1 second to Sears. They're out of Spoon and through 130R. Cody Riggs up ahead. How will he affect these two fighting for second? Riggs off in chicane. He's holding up Sears. Wansing right on his tail. Out of the final corner. Riggs falling off the racetrack once again. Sears ahead of Wansing. 1.5 seconds the gap between second and third. And there goes Cody Riggs. Loses control of the car. Have another look. Catches the grass again and slams that inside wall. Have another look. Riggs in that 9th position, now trying to regain some control. Smoke billowing out of the Dirt Cheap Customs number 3. Riggs a minute 16 ahead of Jeff No, and at least you can say it will be a top 10 finish for Cody Riggs. That we can guarantee coming to 11 laps to go. What you can't guarantee is the fight for second. Tom Sears just barely holding on to the position ahead of Seth Wansing. There goes Wansing and Sears swapping positions once again, this time through the S's. Sears losing out on the spot to Wansing. Have another look. This is through Spoon Curve. Have another, yeah, this is not what we want to see. This is where we want to be. Sears looks like he just lets Wansing go through. Tip of the cap to Tom Sears for that very gentlemanly move, but now steers half a second behind the Kansas City driver, headed into hairpin. 11 laps to go this time by, and every driver has made their pit stop. It can be a one-stop race to the finish, but it's got to be a mistake-free race all the way to the finish. Aiden Norman has gone purple. 2:12.34, the fastest lap of this race. He leads Seth Wansing by a minute 14. Jason Alexander just ran a personal best, 2:17.16. He started in third. He's down to the 5th position, but the South Carolinian going to have an excellent points day headed into next week's race at Daytona. Wansing and Sears furiously downshifting through the corners. Sears chasing Wansing into chicane through the final turn, and then that front straight. Let's have a look at Cody Riggs. Cody Riggs going off the track shortly after this. Check this out. This is into hairpin. If he catches this grass one more time going into hairpin. Oh, what a surprise. And there's Cody Riggs, once again spinning it through hairpin. Tommy Withers goes off the racetrack. Let's see what happened to Withers. Just ahead of Cody Riggs. Withers going around again, right in front of Riggs, and Cody Riggs finally gets around somebody that's crashing, not the other way around. Withers regains control coming out of Spoon Curve. Take a look here. This is into Spoon. How about Ryan Pennell having incident? Jason Alexander went off the track for a minute. Right through chicane, but he keeps it moving. How about Tom Sears in third, who's just fallen off the racetrack? This is the battle for second. Let's have a look at this fight here. Let's start with the pass. This is Sears headed into hairpin. There's Sears falling off the track, giving way to Seth Wansing into Spoon Curve. And they make it through. Seth Wansing in second, Tom Sears in third. 10 laps to go. These cars making a fantastic sound. The South Carolinian has finally gone around. We have seen him fall off the racetrack. We haven't seen him have a full-on crash. Let's look at Jason Alexander. Oh, just giving it a little too much. He keeps it off the wall. You've got to give him that. He kept it off the wall. His car in pristine condition. Jason Alexander doing a phenomenal job. Thomas Andrews in fourth, Tom Sears in third, Ryan Pennell just being overtaken by Seth Wansing, who's in second. Pennell sitting in the 8th position, 1 lap off the pace. Again, not for position. Sears diligently following Pennell, just trying to keep his car on the racetrack and secure that top 3. Aiden Norman coming to 8 laps to go. Tom Sears now with 9 laps to go in this race. Richie Catania has had an incident. Let's see what happened to the Central Floridian. This is in Spoon Curve. Have a look at Thomas Andrews. Cody Riggs falls off the racing surface. Richie may have gone off again. Oh, it looks like he just went off the off track out of Degner 2. Oh, really off track in Degner 2. He has to slow down big time. That, you see that wall on the left-hand side, a big point of contact for drivers if they get the corner wrong. One driver who's gotten the corner absolutely right almost every time is one Seth Wansing. In that second spot, a minute 25 behind race leader Aiden Norman, who undoubtedly has put on a race-winning performance. It is his race to lose. He could even make a mistake and still win this one comfortably. Over the last 5 laps, Tom Sears and Seth Wansing have been swapping spots. Well, maybe not swapping spots, but Tom Sears has been losing time considerably to Seth Wansing, who's on tires that are 5 laps more fresh. Wansing 5.5 seconds ahead of Tom Sears. 3 cars remaining on the lead lap. There's Aiden Norman entering the hairpin now. Tom Sears, the last of those cars on the lead lap. Thomas Andrews in that 2 car. Right into hairpin. He just went a lap down to race leader Aiden Norman in that 6-2. Seven laps to go this time by. 7 seconds the distance between Tom Sears and Seth Wansing. Got to give a shout out to the folks over at Drip Diecasts and Collectibles, your #1 Facebook store for all your NASCAR diecast and memorabilia. Check them out at Drip Diecasts and Collectibles on Facebook. How about Swag Designs? Talking about Mr. Jim Blankenship over there at Swag Designs, with his own handcrafted trophies for any event you can imagine. Jim is personally handcrafting the trophies for this 6th season of Thursday Night Thunder. Check them out on Twitter at swag_designs. That's Jim Blankenship at swag_designs on Twitter. Handcrafted trophies for your any and every event. Richie going off the racetrack with the fender. Looks like it's been just bent in just a little bit on that 2-4. And he's going to try to keep it moving, try to keep it in the top 7. He has gained 1 place since he started. Hardest charger of the race, though, it does go to Tom Sears. And it just may if he doesn't lose another 2 positions. Tom currently up 4 from where he started, but Seth Wansing is in striking distance. 2.8 seconds the gap between them, and a mistake from Seth could prove miserable. And there is Seth just sending it in too deep into the chicane. Tom Sears does not make a mistake through the chicane. He's going to be within 2 seconds to Seth Wansing. Wansing also shakes the tail out of the final corner and steers within 1 3/4 seconds to Wansing into the first turn. On board with Tom Sears. To answer locals' question in the chat, as Seth Wansing and Tom Sears both go off the racetrack in the spoon curve, but Wansing has not shaken the chase from Tom Sears. To answer locals' question in the chat, we had a little bit of difficulties trying to set up the giveaway tonight, so we're going to have 2 people win next week. So stay tuned for that. Anybody is eligible to win. Next week, we're going to have 2 fans win at the race in Daytona. Stay tuned next week, Thursday Night Thunder from the Daytona Oval. Round number 7, we're going to give away 2 race cars. Aiden Norman headed towards 130R to make it 5 laps to go. Seth Wansing ahead of Tom Sears by 1.7 seconds at the moment, and it's going to grow even larger. Sears losing the car through the first curve. Two and 1/2 seconds the gap between them. Richie Catania catching up to Ryan Pinnell. Here's some late race drama for 7th. You just saw Richie lose control of the race car. Before that, though, Cody Riggs had an incident. How much you want to bet he's going to catch the grass again? And, of course, he does. That has to be the 7th or 8th time he's done that. Genuinely about 5 times tonight, but he's done that a lot. Let's see what happened to Richie. This is into Dunlop. Richie does the same thing, catches the grass himself, but he has to put on the binders and keeps that machine from sliding elsewhere. Aiden Norman leading by $140 over Seth Wansing, who's only got Tom Sears at bay by 1 second. Tom Sears losing the car just through the Degners. Now towards the hairpin, he finds himself 1.5 seconds behind Seth Wansing, who stays well away from that grass and avoids any trouble at this stage in the race, unlike Cody Riggs, who's gone off in Degner 2. And let's see what happens to the Kentucky pilot this time headed towards the hairpin. And he does not fall off in the hairpin. All right, go Cody. Seth Wansing has fallen off the racetrack just a bit, just out of the racing line through the spoon curves. Tom Sears now behind him. They're headed into 130R. Sears with the advantage. Wansing, Sears, into chicane, out of chicane, through that final corner. Here they come, down the front straight. 3 laps to go next time by. Wansing shaking the race car with Sears right behind him into turn number 1. Oh, they're going to come out in one piece. Wansing just blinks ahead of Sears, who's right behind him, inside 0.7 of a second now. One second the gap. Sears with tires that are 5 laps older coming into this race. Tom Sears winning last week at Bristol. Seth Wansing with 1 win as well at Iowa. Aiden Norman, the points leader, with 1 win. Juan Jimenez with 2 wins. Aiden Norman would be only the 2nd driver this season to collect more than 1 victory if he can hold on for another 2.5 laps. Meanwhile, Seth Wansing has got to hold on for that same amount of time, but his competition is far closer. Tom Sears within a 0.5 second to Wansing. 2 to go this time by. Out of Spoon, Wansing has the advantage. Seems like Sears is just pressing the clutch in to slow the car down. Has Aiden Norman fallen off the racetrack? Wrestling with Richie Catania. There's Cody Riggs, who goes off the track as well. Norman looks like he's still in one piece. Have a look. This must have been through Spoon Curve. And indeed, it is through Spoon Curve. No harm, no foul. Ryan Pennell looks like he had some sort of incident. Let's have a look at the Japanese pilot. This is also in Spoon. He's doing just fine. Wansing now with 1.3 seconds to Sears. He's got to dig just a little bit deeper, but those 5 laps of wear making all the difference now. How about Jason Alexander still in the top 5? And if he does not have any more major incidents, he will come home with that top 5 finish. Season 4 champion Tom Andrews in that 4th position. Tom Sears, the Season 1 and Season 3 champion. How about Seth Wansing in 2nd, just ahead of the double TNT champion, the Iowa winner, trying to hold on to that silver medal. Tommy Withers going off just before these two got to him. Aiden Norman now coming through Spoon Curve for the penultimate time. White flag, next time by for the North Carolinian. Seth Wansing, there goes Tommy Withers, who crashes right ahead of Seth Wansing. Tom Sears avoids that. Ryan Pennell may have gone off the racetrack as well. Have a look. Oh, this was well before. See where Ryan Pinnell was at this point in time. Oh, looks like they were both crashing Oh, let's have... Okay, here's a better look. This is actually a crash from Pinnell. Oh, just a little too much excitement down the straight. And again, the tires, 17 laps old for Ryan. White flag out now for Aiden Norman. Final lap at the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. A flawless race by Norman. The only driver I haven't seen spin the car in some major way. And leading this race by a minute 48. Just an absolute masterclass. The points are going to go, well, the gap in points is going to grow larger for Aiden Norman, but that's not what we're here for. Tom Sears and Seth Wansing still have to fight this one out. They're going to get another lap of racing in all of this. Thomas Andrews is currently behind race leader Aiden Norman. 23 seconds is the gap between him and Jason Alexander. He's got to keep it clean to maintain that fourth position. Norman headed into hairpin. Seth Wansing going wide through Spoon. Tom Sears has been consistently better through Spoon curves and in the run down to 130R. Sears trying to avoid the snake from Wansing. And the front of the race car just slams down as they head into chicane. Wansing almost loses the race car. Sears now following Wansing out of chicane. White flag will be out now for these two fighting for the silver medal. White flag out now. Jason Alexander falls off the racetrack. Big incident for the 5-6. He's in fifth by a great margin. Here comes Aiden Norman out of the final corner while Wansing and Sears will fight it out for second for another 3 miles. An absolute flawless race by the North Carolinian. Absolutely nobody could stop this man today. Aiden Norman will win his second race of the season, and it comes at the Suzuka circuit. Seth Wansing still just ahead of Tom Sears. Richie Catania has an incident on the last lap, back to the fight for second. You can hear Sears just pushing the clutch in, trying to cut all power to the engine. Will it work in this final lap? Into hairpin. Sears cannot make a mistake. Wansing under the same pressure. There's Sears following Wansing. That's the gap. Wansing goes off the track and Spoon. 1.5 seconds the gap now, and Sears with a great advantage, but Wansing gets an excellent exit out of that second Spoon, and he's only got to hold it through 130R and chicane. Long sweeping left-hander for Seth Wansing. He's got to hold it together. 2 more corners. Tom Sears cannot make a mistake. Looks like Wansing makes it clean out of the corner. Seth Wansing will hold on for second place. Tom Sears going through chicane, and there is the checkered flag. Silver medal for Seth Wansing. Third place for Tom Sears and this driver here. Aiden Norman with the celebration, with the donut in Spoon, and he should celebrate. He has dominated today's race. Fans at home, don't go anywhere. We're going to have top three in the booth in just a moment. Your race winner, Aiden Norman. Second place, Seth Wansing. And of course, Tom Sears will be on the third step on the podium. Your winner tonight from iRacing's Suzuka, Aiden Norman. On the podium now with our top three, starting with the pride of Kansas City, the Iowa winner, Seth. Seth finished second. I have no idea what I'm doing. Tom Sears, the pride of Southampton, Massachusetts. There we go. Tomo, third place finish tonight at Suzuka.
Yeah, Dream Rick, obviously, very difficult track. Low attendance tonight, but that's the last of this we'll have this season. I had a interesting adventure out there to come home third. Crashed on the backstretch pretty bad. Got a meatball. Crash again. Almost crashed Seth. Sorry, Seth. Good race, Seth. And then we had to save a whole lap and a half of gas for the rest of the race, which was not ideal, but we still brought it home in the top three. So just want to shout out 213 Swimwear, beautiful fiance, for letting me do this. And yeah, I'm glad that this is done. Aiden drove the wheels off the thing. Congratulations, Aiden.
You take back over second in the points with Daytona sitting on the schedule next week. You're 16 markers off of Aiden Norman, and you move into second over Jeff No by 6 points. We'll see you at the high banks on the beach in 7 days.
Thanks, Rick.
Second place brought to you by the Drip Diecast and Collectibles store on Facebook. Check them out, your number one stop on Facebook for all your NASCAR diecast and memorabilia. Drip Diecast and Collectibles. Check them out on Facebook and find your favorite piece of NASCAR history. Seth Wansing, an incredible drive to hold off the two-time TNT champion. You move up even further into the points. You are now 7th. 4 markers headed off of Thomas Andrews into Daytona.
Yeah. That race was that race. Happy I got second at a road course. Congrats to Aiden. No one had anything for Aiden tonight. Had fun racing with Tom. I know we almost. Um, then besides racing with Tom, kind of a Sunday drive. So um, we'll hope to actually gain some more points on some people, but Didn't look like that happened a whole lot just because of only 10 people being there, but that happens. So I'm sure that'll be the last time this year. So going to Daytona, hope to gain some more points um, with the number 9 Chevy. And thanks to 213 Simware and Midwest Barbecue for being on board. And shout out to you for broadcasting, Rick. Shout out to everybody at ARCS, all the admins and owners that make it happen. And we'll go to sunny Daytona next week. And Aiden sucks.
Aiden, no, no, no guessing how the drivers felt about your performance tonight. Oh, by the way, this winning interview brought to you by the folks over at Swag Designs. Jim Blankenship handcrafting the trophies tonight. Well, not tonight, but for this season, I should say. For Thursday Night Thunder, check them out on Twitter. Swag_designs, handcrafted trophies made by Jim Blankenship for your any event, and this one as well, Thursday Night Thunder Season 6. Aiden, briefly here, let us know, was there any weak point for you tonight?
Not really, no. I mean, you saw what happened. Everyone saw what happened. It was just kind of cruising around for me. It's kind of unfortunate, to be honest. I was looking forward to racing some people, but I mean, at the same time, I'm still happy with the win. Obviously, road courses seem to be where I'm strongest in this series, so I'll take whatever I can get.
Great race tonight, and we're going to see you in 7 nights at Daytona. It's going to be a gamble, but is there a strategy?
Survive. Super speedways are the dead opposite. I actually really do not look forward to super speedway racing. So with every good comes a bad. So this week, great. Next week, hopefully, I just make it to the end.
We'll see you in 7 nights. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Rick.
Fans at home, that does it for the 6th race of the 6th season of Thursday Night Thunder, and next week round number 7 from the high banked oval of Daytona International. And again, we apologize for our giveaway, the absence of the giveaway tonight. Next week, 2 fans from the Twitch chat will win diecasts. So don't miss next week's race from Daytona. And until that very next race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take care of each other. And